Welcome back, Chosen One. You didn't land here by accident. This moment was orchestrated just for you. Right now, you stand at the threshold of a divine revelation, watching as the unseen hand of justice moves on your behalf. Every betrayal, every attack, every whisper spoken against you, none of it went unnoticed. God has been keeping record, and now the time has come for the scales to tip in your favor. What happens when people try to harm those who walk in God's light? The answer may shock you. But before we uncover the truth, let me take a moment to express my deepest gratitude to all of you who continue to support this mission through super thanks. Your generosity fuels this space of wisdom and divine insight, and I'm truly grateful for each and every one of you. If you're new here, welcome to this incredible journey. This is a place of revelation, empowerment, and spiritual awakening. You are not alone. You are part of something bigger. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to escape the consequences of their actions? Have you ever questioned whether justice will truly be served? Let me assure you, God never overlooks the pain inflicted upon his chosen ones. Though it may seem like the wicked prosper for a time, there is always a price to pay. Every action carries a consequence, and today we're diving deep into what happens when people dare to harm those under God's divine protection. And before we move forward, let's activate something powerful. Drop 999 in the comments as a declaration that divine justice is in motion. 999 represents completion, spiritual awakening, and the closing of one chapter before God ushers in a new beginning. It is a sign that what was meant for your harm is about to be reversed for your good. So get ready, chosen ones. The truth is about to unfold before your very eyes. Let's step into it together. God's chosen ones, the price they pay for trying to hurt you. Chosen one, do you feel it? The shift happening in your life right now isn't ordinary. It's spiritual. The trials, the betrayals, the moments of doubt, they're all part of something bigger than you can fully see right now. These aren't random events. They're signs that you're stepping into a purpose so profound that it shakes the very foundation of the world around you. And with that comes resistance. Resistance from people, circumstances, and forces that don't want to see you succeed. But here's the truth. Those who have wronged you, betrayed your trust, or tried to harm you are not getting away with it. Think back to every time you were mistreated, ignored, or underestimated. Did you feel alone in those moments? Did you wonder if anyone noticed the injustice? Let me assure you, God sees everything. He sees your pain, your struggles, and every unfair moment. The Bible says in Proverbs 15:3, "The eyes of the Lord are everywhere, keeping watch on the wicked and the good. Nothing escapes his sight, and those who thought they could hurt you without consequence are in for a rude awakening." Justice is coming. You might be asking yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Why am I constantly targeted? The answer is simple. You are chosen. When you walk in divine light, darkness will try to extinguish it. When you're called for something greater, the enemy will try to distract or discourage you. Think about Joseph from the Bible. His brothers were so jealous of his dreams that they threw him into a pit and sold him into slavery. Can you imagine the betrayal he must have felt? Yet Joseph didn't let their actions define him. He trusted God, even in the darkest moments. And in time, God elevated him to a position of power where he could save not just Egypt, but even the same brothers who betrayed him. Now, reflect on your own life. How many times have you been thrown into a pit by the people you trusted? How often have others tried to derail you simply because they couldn't understand or accept the greatness God placed within you? Chosen one, their actions against you are not the end of your story. In fact, they're just the beginning of something far greater. But here's the beautiful part. You don't have to fight back. You don't have to lower yourself to their level. Romans 12:19 reminds us, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge. I will repay,' says the Lord." Your only job is to stay faithful and keep walking in your purpose. Every dirty trick, every insult, every betrayal, it's all being recorded, and the universe is preparing to return those actions right back to the sender. Not lightly, but multiplied, 10-fold, 30-fold, or even 100-fold. You might be wondering, but why me? Why do they target me? It's because of the light you carry. You've been given a spiritual insight that others can't comprehend. You see the truth, and that truth threatens those who live in lies. When Jesus walked the earth, he was constantly targeted by those who couldn't handle his teachings. The Pharisees plotted against him, not because he did anything wrong, but because his light exposed their darkness. In the same way, your light makes people uncomfortable, but don't dim it. Don't shrink to make others feel better. What if the battles you're facing right now are shaping you for a destiny so great that it requires this level of preparation? What if the betrayals, the hardships, and the unfair treatment are all tools God is using to strengthen you for what's coming next? Just like David, who faced Goliath after years of being overlooked as a mere shepherd, you're being prepared to step into a role that only you can fill. Chosen one, you are here for a reason. Everything you've experienced, the good, the bad, and the painful, is part of a divine plan. You are not here by accident, and your purpose is far greater than any of the challenges you've faced. Remember, every storm you've endured has brought you closer to your destiny. But here's the most important truth. You are not walking this path alone. God is with you every step of the way. His protection surrounds you like a shield. Psalm 91:4 says, "He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. His faithfulness will be your shield and rampart." No matter what others throw at you, you are untouchable because of his divine protection. And those who thought they could harm you? They'll soon realize they weren't fighting against you. They were fighting against God's plan for your life. And no one, no matter how powerful they think they are, can stand against the will of God. Do you trust the process? Do you believe that every trial is refining you for something greater? If you feel weary, remember this: you are chosen, you are protected, and you are destined for greatness. Every challenge is shaping you into the person God created you to be. Stay strong, stay faithful, and keep walking this incredible path. The best is yet to come. Chosen one, there will be moments when you feel the urge to retaliate, the temptation to strike back, to prove your worth, or to fight fire with fire may seem overwhelming. But let me remind you of a powerful truth. You're called to rise above. Don't stoop to their level. Don't let the negative energy they've thrown your way pull you down into their chaos. That's exactly what the enemy wants, to see you distracted, hurt, and out of alignment with your purpose. Think about it. Those who try to harm you, insult you, or manipulate you are often being used as pawns by forces greater than themselves. The Bible reminds us in Ephesians 6:12, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." What does this mean? It means the battle is not truly against the people who oppose you. It's against the spiritual forces working through them to disrupt your journey. How often have you let someone's words or actions throw you off course? How many times have you allowed their negativity to make you question your worth, your calling, or your path? The enemy knows your potential and will use others to plant seeds of doubt and distraction in your mind. But you, chosen one, must see beyond the surface. You must understand that these challenges are designed to test your faith, your patience, and your focus. Here's what you need to remember. You're being guided. Every step of this journey has been carefully orchestrated. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." Even when it feels like you're surrounded by negativity, God is leading you towards something extraordinary. Your purpose is far greater than their attempts to bring you down. Think about Jesus when He was mocked, ridiculed, and ultimately crucified. Did He fight back? Did He stoop to their level? No. He remained focused on His mission, knowing that His purpose was far greater than the actions of those who opposed Him. And because of His obedience, He fulfilled the greatest calling of all, bringing salvation to the world. You too are being called to rise above, to stay focused, and to trust the journey. But here's the beautiful part. Negativity cannot stop you. It doesn't matter how hard they try, how cruel their words are, or how unfair their actions may seem, as long as you remain aligned with your purpose and trust in God's plan, nothing can derail you. Romans 8:31 reminds us, if God is for us, who can be against us? The truth is, their attempts to harm you will only serve to highlight the strength, resilience, and divine protection that surround you. Let me challenge you with this thought. What if, every time someone tried to bring you down, it was actually an opportunity for you to rise higher? What if their negativity is the very thing God uses to strengthen you, to refine you, and to prepare you for the next level? When Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, when David was hunted by Saul, and when Jesus was betrayed by Judas, each of these moments became a stepping stone to their ultimate purpose. What if the same is true for you? So here's your task. Stay strong. Don't engage in petty battles. Don't let their words or actions control your emotions. Instead, focus on the journey ahead. Every step you take, no matter how difficult, is bringing you closer to fulfilling your divine calling. Trust that God is in control, that His timing is perfect, and that His plan for you is far greater than you could ever imagine. And remember, you are chosen for something extraordinary. The negativity, the opposition, the battles, they're just distractions. They can't stop you. They can't stop what God has already set in motion for your life. So keep walking, keep trusting, and keep rising above. Your victory is already written, and no amount of negativity can erase it. Chosen one, have you ever felt like the whole world was against you? Like no matter where you turn, there's resistance, criticism, or negativity? When you've awakened to your purpose and chosen to walk in light, it often feels like you've become a target. Why? Because your glow, your spiritual light, and your divine purpose stand out in a world often consumed by darkness. People driven by their own shadows, by envy, fear, or pain, will naturally be drawn to try and dim your light. And let's face it, that can be tough, especially when it's coming from the people you least expect. It's a common experience for those walking a spiritual path. As you grow, align, and awaken, you may notice that the challenges you face are not just from circumstances, but from people around you, family, friends, co-workers, or even romantic partners. Why does this happen? Because not everyone operates on the same wavelength as you. When you're vibrating at a higher frequency, walking in truth and pursuing purpose, it can be unsettling for those who are stuck in cycles of negativity. Your light shines a spotlight on their darkness, and it scares them. Have you ever noticed how the people closest to you sometimes seem to be the ones carrying the heaviest negative energy? This isn't by coincidence. Often the enemy works through those nearest to us, knowing they have the greatest chance of derailing us. Think of Job in the Bible. His trials came not just from his circumstances, but also from his closest companions, who doubted him and urged him to turn away from God. But Job stood firm, trusting in the divine plan, and in the end, God restored everything he had lost and more. A lot of this negativity you face can be understood through the concept of the Jezebel spirit. Whether you view it as a literal entity or a metaphor, it represents a toxic, manipulative, and destructive energy that seeks to pull you into despair and darkness. Elijah faced this spirit through Queen Jezebel, who sought to destroy him after his victory on Mount Carmel. Despite her threats and schemes, Elijah's faith carried him through. Just like Elijah, you must remember, no weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Now, let's reflect on this truth. The negativity aimed at you isn't really about you. It's about your light. Those who throw insults, lies, or manipulative tactics your way are reacting to something they don't understand. They see the brightness of your spirit, the power of your calling, and it terrifies them. Even if they can't put it into words, they're responding to the divine energy you carry. It's like a moth to a flame. They can't resist being drawn to you, but their own unresolved darkness drives them to attack rather than embrace the light you represent. And here's the thing, you are divinely protected. The attacks may feel overwhelming at times, but they are a sign that you are walking the right path. If you weren't on the verge of something extraordinary, there wouldn't be so much resistance. The enemy doesn't bother with those who aren't a threat. The trials you face are proof that you are moving closer to fulfilling your divine purpose. What if every time you walked away from negativity, you were making space for something greater? What if leaving behind a toxic relationship, a draining job, or a harmful environment was actually God's way of preparing you for the blessings He has in store? When you choose to let go of what doesn't serve your highest good, you're clearing the way for miracles. You're making room for God to work in your life. Think about the story of Abraham and Lot. When Abraham chose to separate from Lot, he trusted that God would guide him to where he needed to be. And what happened? God led Abraham to the land he had promised, a place of abundance and purpose. Sometimes, letting go of the people or situations that no longer align with your spirit is necessary to step into the destiny God has prepared for you. So, chosen one, stay focused. When the negativity feels relentless, remember that it's not about what's wrong with you, it's about what's right with you. You are chosen, protected, and destined for something extraordinary. Your light is your power, and no amount of darkness can extinguish it. The next time you feel the weight of someone else's negativity, ask yourself, what is this resistance trying to teach me? What strength, wisdom, or resilience is being built within me? Instead of letting their energy drag you down, use it as a reminder of how far you've come and how bright your future is. Walk away from what no longer serves you and trust that God is clearing the path for something far greater than you can imagine. Remember, no matter how heavy the storm feels, it cannot last forever. God's plan for you is unshakable, and His protection over you is eternal. Keep shining, chosen one. Your light is unstoppable. Chosen one, have you ever walked into a room, your workplace, or even a family gathering, and felt an energy that didn't sit right with you? Maybe it's the conversations, the decisions being made, or the subtle actions of others that seem off. Do you find yourself wondering why these situations feel so heavy, so draining, or even outright wrong? And the hardest part, realizing that some of the very people you trusted, friends, co-workers, or even family members, aren't truly in your corner. Why does this happen? Why do those closest to us sometimes turn out to carry the heaviest negative energy? The truth is, this awakening is part of your journey. God is opening your eyes to see what has always been there, but hidden behind masks and false pretenses. You are no longer blinded by surface appearances or sweet words. Instead, you've been gifted with discernment, the ability to see who truly supports you and who doesn't. What happens when the people you thought had your back reveal their true colors? Does it shake your faith? Does it leave you wondering who you can trust? This clarity, as painful as it might be, is not a curse. It's a blessing. It's like seeing clearly for the first time, understanding who is truly aligned with your purpose and who is not. Yes, it can be shocking. Yes, it can hurt. But this truth is what sets you free. The Bible reminds us in Matthew 7:16, "By their fruit you will recognize them." This means that people's actions and energy will always reveal their true nature. Have you started noticing the fruit of certain relationships in your life? Is it peace, growth, and positivity? Or is it chaos, manipulation, and negativity? God is showing you this truth for a reason, to protect you from those who cannot go where He is taking you. Why do these situations feel so heavy? It's because negativity thrives in darkness, and you, chosen one, are a carrier of light. Your presence, your energy, and your purpose naturally reveal the shadows others are trying to hide. Just as a flame disrupts the darkness, your light unsettles those who live in fear, envy, or deceit. This is why the negativity seems to follow you. It's not because of what you've done wrong, but because of the brightness you carry. Do you realize how powerful your light truly is? But here's an important question. What will you do with this clarity? Will you let the negativity pull you down, or will you use it as a stepping stone to rise higher? Think of Samson in the Bible. He was betrayed by someone he trusted deeply, Delilah. She pretended to care for him, all while plotting his downfall. Imagine how different Samson's story could have been if he had discerned her intentions earlier. In the same way, God is giving you this clarity now to protect you before greater harm can be done. Have you ever thought about how this season of clarity is preparing you for something extraordinary? What if God is removing the people and situations that no longer serve you to make space for His greater plan? When Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, it must have felt like the ultimate act of cruelty. But what happened? God turned what they meant for harm into good, elevating Joseph to a position of power where he could save countless lives, including those of his own family. So, chosen one, take a moment to reflect. Who or what in your life is draining your energy, pulling you away from your purpose, or sowing seeds of doubt in your spirit? God is asking you to release these things, not out of anger or bitterness, but out of trust that He has something far better in store for you. The Bible reminds us in Hebrews 12:1, "Let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us." Every time you choose to walk away from negativity, a toxic relationship, a draining job, or a harmful environment, you're making room for blessings. Do you believe that God is preparing something greater for you? Trust that every loss, every moment of pain is clearing the way for your true purpose. Here's the truth. You're not losing anything of value. You're gaining clarity, peace, and alignment. God is separating you from what no longer serves your highest good, so that you can step into the fullness of His plan for your life. Let me leave you with this thought. What if the very challenges you're facing today are the doors to your destiny? What if the pain of seeing someone's true colors is God's way of redirecting you toward the people and places that will nurture your soul? Will you trust the process? Will you let go of what no longer aligns with your purpose? Remember, chosen one, you are never alone in this journey. God is walking beside you, guiding you, and protecting you every step of the way. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every revelation is part of a greater story being written just for you. Keep shining your light, keep trusting, and keep moving forward. What's ahead is greater than anything you're leaving behind. Chosen one, have you ever felt the weight of resentment or anger holding you back? It's easy to get caught up in the pain of what others have done to you, whether they acted out of ignorance or malice. But let me remind you of something powerful. There's a divine balance at work in this universe. Those who have wronged you, knowingly or unknowingly, will face their own lessons in time. God sees everything, and His justice never fails. Let me ask you this. Do you trust that God's timing is perfect, even when you don't see it? It can be hard to let go, especially when the wounds feel fresh. But dwelling on their actions or intentions only binds you to the very negativity you're meant to rise above. Every moment you hold on to the pain, you're carrying a burden that isn't yours to bear. What would happen if you chose to release it today? Consider the story of David and Saul in the Bible. Saul, consumed by jealousy, relentlessly pursued David, trying to take his life. David had every opportunity to strike back, to retaliate, and claim victory for himself. But what did he do? He chose to trust God. In 1 Samuel 24, David even spared Saul's life when he had the chance to harm him, saying, "May the Lord judge between you and me, and may the Lord avenge the wrongs you have done to me, but my hand will not touch you." 1 Samuel 24:12. David understood that vengeance wasn't his to seek, it belonged to God. And because of his faith, David was ultimately elevated to become king, fulfilling God's promise for his life. Do you see the lesson here? David's restraint wasn't weakness, it was strength. It was a reflection of his trust in God's justice. Just like David, you are being called to rise above the actions of those who have wronged you. Their negativity, their intentions, their schemes, they're not your concern. God will handle them in His perfect way and in His perfect timing. But here's the key. Your energy matters. The more you let go of negativity, the lighter you'll feel. Have you noticed how much freer your spirit becomes when you release the things that no longer serve you? The Bible reminds us in Philippians 4:8, "Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things." When you shift your focus to what uplifts you, you naturally align with the blessings that God has prepared for you. Let me share another example. Joseph and his brothers, betrayed by his own family, sold into slavery, and left to suffer for years, Joseph could have easily fallen into bitterness. But instead, he chose to trust the journey God had set before him. When the time came, Joseph forgave his brothers, saying, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good to accomplish what is now being done, the saving of many lives." Genesis 50:20. Joseph's ability to let go of resentment allowed him to step fully into his purpose. Could it be that your pain, like Joseph's, is paving the way for something far greater? Let me ask you this. What if the people who've wronged you are actually teaching you something essential for your growth? What if their actions are serving as a refining fire, purifying your character and strengthening your spirit? What if every hurtful moment is actually preparing you for the blessings God has in store? Chosen one, the negativity aimed at you isn't about you. It's about the light you carry. Do you realize how powerful your light truly is? Those who operate in darkness are often unsettled by the presence of someone who walks in truth and purpose. Their attempts to harm or derail you are just reactions to the brightness of your spirit. But here's the truth. No weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. When you choose to release the pain, the resentment, and the frustration, you're not just freeing yourself, you're creating space for God to move in your life. Every time you let go of what doesn't align with your spirit, you open the door to new blessings, opportunities, and connections. Think about this. What would happen if you truly trusted the process? If you let go of the negativity and allowed God's justice to unfold in His perfect way? Imagine how much lighter, freer, and more aligned you'd feel. You're not meant to carry the weight of what others have done to you. You're meant to soar. So here's your challenge. Chosen one. Let it go. Give the pain, the anger, the frustration to God, and trust Him to take care of the rest. Just as He did for David, for Joseph, and for countless others, He will fight for you. Your job is to keep your vibration high, your focus clear, and your heart open to the incredible things He has in store for you. Remember, you're not just anyone. You are chosen, divinely protected, and destined for greatness. Keep walking in faith, keep trusting the process, and watch as God transforms every trial into triumph. Your best days are ahead, and nothing can stop what God has already written for you. Chosen one, isn't it strange how life works sometimes? The people we expect to be our biggest supporters, the ones we've grown up with, shared our dreams with, or leaned on for comfort, are often the very ones who struggle to understand us. Have you ever wondered why this happens? Why those closest to us seem to resist the changes we're making or the dreams we're pursuing? It's not because they don't care, but because they can't see the vision God has planted in your heart. Do you remember Jesus' words in Mark 6:4? A prophet is not without honor, except in his own town, among his relatives, and in his own home. Even Jesus, the Son of God, was not fully recognized or supported by the people who knew him best. They questioned his authority, his mission, and his divine calling because they couldn't see beyond the version of him they had grown accustomed to. Does this sound familiar? And yet, isn't it amazing how sometimes strangers, people you've never met before, step into your life and offer the encouragement, support, or resources you need to keep going? Have you ever stopped to think that this isn't random but divinely orchestrated? It's a reminder that God places the right people in your path at the right time. When one door closes, He opens another. When the support you need doesn't come from familiar faces, He sends it through unexpected ones. Think about Ruth and Naomi in the Bible. After losing her husband and being left with no reason to stay, Ruth chose to leave her home and follow Naomi to a foreign land, saying, "Where you go, I will go, and where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God, my God." Ruth 1:16. Ruth's loyalty to Naomi wasn't bound by familiarity, but by a deeper divine connection. Similarly, God often sends people into our lives who are not bound by shared history, but by shared purpose. But here's a question for you. Are you willing to let go of the old to embrace the new? Sometimes the people we've outgrown or the environments we've outlived hold us back, not out of malice, but because they can't see the next chapter God is writing for us. What would happen if you stopped clinging to what no longer serves you? Would you make space for the new blessings, relationships, and opportunities waiting to find you? Let's consider another example. Abraham and Lot. When God called Abraham to step into his destiny, it became clear that Lot, his nephew, could no longer be part of his journey. They had to part ways, not because of animosity, but because their paths were no longer aligned. And what happened when they separated? God revealed to Abraham the land He had promised him, a blessing that could only unfold once Abraham let go of what no longer fit his journey. Could it be that you're being called to do the same? Chosen one, your journey is unique. Not everyone will understand it, and that's okay. Your calling was given to you, not to them. Sometimes the lack of support from those closest to you is God's way of reminding you to trust Him above all else. Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." When you trust that He is guiding you, you can let go of the need for validation from others. But here's the beauty of it all. Every step you take in faith brings you closer to the people, places, and opportunities meant for you. The strangers who step in to offer unexpected kindness or encouragement, they're not strangers at all. They're instruments of God's plan, reminders that you are never walking this path alone. So, are you willing to trust the process, even when it feels uncertain? Are you ready to let go of the old so you can embrace the new? It's not easy to release the familiar, but it's necessary if you want to step into the fullness of your purpose. Remember, every chapter of your journey is written with intention. The people who leave your life aren't meant to stay, and the ones who step in are there to help you move forward. Here's your task, chosen one. Open your heart to what's next. Release the resentment or disappointment of not being understood by those closest to you, and trust that God is aligning you with people who see your value and your vision. Just like Ruth, just like Abraham, and just like countless others who walked before you, your path is being guided by something far greater than what you can see. Chosen one, have you ever felt like you're being targeted by unseen forces? Like some people are actively plotting against your success? It's unsettling, isn't it? There are individuals who simply don't want to see you win. They may smile to your face while scheming behind your back, trying to disrupt your peace and derail your progress. But here's the truth. Their negativity isn't your battle to fight. Have you noticed how negativity thrives on reaction? That's exactly what they want, to see you respond, to drag you down to their level, and to disrupt the light you carry. But you're stronger than that. Your calling is higher, your spirit is resilient, and your peace is unshakable. Reacting to their actions only gives them power. Instead, let your silence, your focus, and your unshaken resolve speak louder than words. The Bible reminds us in Exodus 14:14, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." Do you trust that God has your back even when others plot against you? Think about Daniel in the lion's den. His peers plotted against him, fueled by jealousy and competition. They couldn't stand to see him favored by the king, so they schemed to have him thrown into a den of lions. But Daniel didn't retaliate. He didn't stoop to their level. Instead, he remained faithful, trusting in God's protection. And what happened? The lions didn't harm him, and those who plotted against him were exposed. Do you see the pattern? When you stand firm in your faith and refuse to react to negativity, those who plot against you will ultimately reveal their true colors. Have you noticed how people who act out of jealousy or bitterness often end up sabotaging themselves? Their actions, born out of negativity, eventually backfire. Why? Because what they send out into the world comes back to them. Proverbs 26:27 says, "Whoever digs a pit will fall into it. If someone rolls a stone, it will roll back on them." This is the universal truth of justice. What they intend for harm will ultimately circle back to them. Especially in the workplace, where competition and jealousy can run rampant, this truth becomes even more evident. Have you experienced the subtle games, the office politics, the sabotage? Maybe you've noticed co-workers who focus more on undermining you than on doing their own jobs. It's frustrating, isn't it? And yet, this is where your strength shines brightest. When you keep your head high, maintain your integrity, and focus on your purpose, their schemes lose power. Your success isn't dependent on their approval or validation. It's ordained by God. Let's talk about your contributions. Does it feel like you're the one who always steps up, who takes on extra tasks, who helps others without hesitation? And yet, when you need support, suddenly everyone is too busy. It's draining, isn't it? It can feel like a thankless job, as if your efforts go unnoticed. But here's the thing. God sees everything. The late nights, the extra effort, the quiet sacrifices you make. None of it is wasted. Galatians 6:9 reminds us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." So, chosen one, what should you do when faced with negativity? Here's the answer. Breeze right past it. Don't waste your energy on retaliation, arguments, or trying to prove your worth to those who refuse to see it. Instead, trust that your blessings, your success, and your path forward are already written. No amount of plotting can stop what God has planned for you. Isaiah 54:17 declares, "No weapon formed against you shall prosper." This isn't just a promise, it's a fact. Think of the story of Joseph. His own brothers plotted against him, selling him into slavery out of envy for his dreams. Yet, despite every setback, Joseph's faith never wavered. What his brothers intended for harm, God used for good. What if the challenges you're facing today are setting you up for a greater blessing, just like Joseph? What if the very people trying to bring you down are inadvertently pushing you closer to your purpose? How do you keep your peace when the negativity feels relentless? The answer lies in staying grounded in your higher calling. Remember, you are here for something greater. You're not meant to fight every battle or respond to every slight. Your energy is too valuable to be spent on things that don't serve your spirit. Instead, let your success speak for itself. As Jesus said in Matthew 5:16, "Let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven." So here's your challenge, chosen one. Keep shining. Keep rising. Let the negativity around you fuel your determination, not your frustration. When people try to disrupt your peace, take it as a sign that you're on the right path. Their actions are proof that your light is too bright for them to ignore. And when they see that their efforts can't touch you, they'll expose themselves through their own mistakes. Stay focused on your journey. Trust that the same God who protected Daniel, Joseph, and countless others is protecting you. Every challenge you face is shaping you for greatness. Your resilience, your peace, and your unwavering faith are your greatest weapons. And remember, no matter what they try to do, they can't stop what's already been written for you. Chosen one, what would happen if you stopped giving negativity any power over you? How much lighter, freer, and more aligned would you feel if you let God handle your battles? You're on a journey to greatness, and nothing can stop you. Keep your head high, your heart open, and your focus on the path ahead. The best is yet to come. Chosen one, have you ever stopped to wonder why this journey feels so challenging, why the obstacles seem so relentless? It's because you're meant to go through this. It's part of your divine purpose. This isn't just a struggle, it's your arena for growth, your rite of passage. The trials you're facing now are preparing you for the greatness that lies ahead. Every setback, every scheme, every act of negativity is sharpening you, strengthening you, and positioning you for the next level of your journey. Do you remember David in the Bible? Before he became king, he had to face Goliath, a giant that everyone else feared. But David wasn't shaken. Why? Because he knew he wasn't fighting alone. God was with him. Just as David stood in the face of adversity with a sling and a stone, you are equipped to overcome the challenges before you. Your shield is faith, and no weapon formed against you will prosper. Isaiah 54:17. Those underhanded schemes and negativity aimed at you, they won't stick. Why? Because you are shielded by a power far greater than any harmful intent. Have you noticed how, despite everything thrown your way, you keep rising? That's because God's protection surrounds you like a fortress. When the enemy tries to throw you off course, it only strengthens your resolve. But here's something to remember. Rising above isn't just about survival, it's about growth. It's not just about getting through the storm, it's about becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient because of it. Every challenge you face is shaping you for the destiny God has planned for you. What if these trials are the very thing pushing you toward transformation? What if the adversity you face is refining you for a purpose far greater than you can imagine? Think of Joseph's journey. Betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, and falsely imprisoned, Joseph had every reason to give up. But he didn't. He trusted in God's plan, and in time, he rose to become second in command in Egypt, saving countless lives, including those of the very brothers who wronged him. Joseph's story reminds us that what others intend for harm, God uses for good. Genesis 50:20. The same is true for you. The negativity aimed at you isn't a sign of defeat. It's a setup for your elevation. How often do you let the actions of others dictate your emotions or derail your focus? What if, instead of reacting to their pettiness, you chose to smile in the face of adversity, knowing that God is handling the situation for you? When you rise above, you're not just moving forward, you're moving into a space where negativity has no hold on you. Here's the truth. God's plan for your life doesn't include those who wish you harm. The people who've tried to dim your light, to drag you down, can't follow you where you're headed. Why? Because the place you're going is one of fulfillment, purpose, and divine alignment, a place far beyond their reach. Their actions, their schemes, their negativity, it's all temporary. Their karma is on the horizon, and it's packing a punch. They'll come to realize the mistake of underestimating you and the power of the God who stands beside you. So, chosen one, what should you do? Keep pushing forward. You're on the brink of something truly extraordinary. Have you felt it? That stirring in your spirit, that sense that something amazing is just around the corner. It's not your imagination, it's your destiny calling. Keep your head up, stay focused, and trust that no negativity aimed at you will succeed. When you encounter hostility, jealousy, or outright sabotage, remember, it's not your battle to fight. The Bible says in Romans 12:19, "Do not take revenge, my dear friends, but leave room for God's wrath. For it is written, 'It is mine to avenge, I will repay,' says the Lord." God is asking for your trust. He's promising to handle those who've wronged you. Your role is to stay positive, keep moving forward, and let Him take care of the rest. Think about this. Every time you choose to let go of negativity, you're distancing yourself from toxic influences. Do you realize how much power there is in simply walking away? When you refuse to engage with drama, you're preserving your energy for what truly matters. You're showing the world that your worth isn't defined by others' actions or opinions. Do you trust that God's got your back? The challenges you're facing aren't random. They're shaping you for greatness. The world may be chaotic right now, but your path is divinely guided. Every time you encounter hostility or resistance, remember that you're equipped to overcome it. You're chosen for this journey for a reason. Are you ready to embrace your worth? Are you willing to stop wasting your precious resources, your time, energy, and focus on people and situations that don't value you? When you shift your energy to what truly matters, you'll be amazed at the doors that begin to open. God's plan for your life is unfolding perfectly, even when it doesn't feel like it. Trust that the negativity, the drama, and the distractions are just noise. Your focus should be on the incredible purpose God has set before you. Stay positive, keep pushing forward, and watch as the toxic influences fall away naturally. Chosen one, how do you begin your day? Do you start with a clear mind and a sense of purpose? Or does negativity sneak in before you've even had a chance to take your first deep breath? The way you start your day matters. It sets the tone for everything that follows. That's why protecting your mindset and filling your morning with intention and positivity is so important. Have you ever considered how much power there is in those first few moments of your day? Think about this. Life often throws unexpected challenges at us, even before the day fully begins. It could be an upsetting text, an early morning call, or even a passing thought that reminds you of something painful. Suddenly, your energy is drained, your mood shifts, and negativity starts to creep in. Have you experienced this? Those moments can feel like someone has planted a weight on your spirit before you've even had your coffee. But here's the truth. You don't have to accept that energy. You have the power to stop negativity at its source. The Bible reminds us in Philippians 4:7, "And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." That peace is available to you, even in the face of early morning disruptions. Do you trust that God's peace can shield you from negativity, no matter how or when it appears? So, what can you do when negativity strikes first thing in the morning? Start by protecting your mindset. Imagine putting on spiritual armor before stepping into your day. Ephesians 6:11 says, "Put on the full armor of God so that you can take your stand against the devil's schemes." This armor isn't just for major battles. It's for the small, everyday moments when negativity tries to sneak in and steal your peace. Here's something to reflect on. What if you approached each day with a proactive mindset instead of a reactive one? Instead of waiting to see what the day brings, set an intention to protect your energy and focus. Speak life over your day. Declare that no negativity will take root in your spirit. Pray for God's guidance and strength, and trust that He is walking with you every step of the way. Think about Jesus' example. He often withdrew to quiet places early in the morning to pray and connect with God before facing the demands of His ministry. Mark 1:35 says, "Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where He prayed." If even Jesus, the Son of God, prioritized protecting His mindset and spirit at the start of His day, how much more should we? But what about those negative influences that feel unavoidable? Maybe it's someone in your home, a difficult co-worker, or even your own thoughts. How do you distance yourself when you can't physically walk away? The answer lies in your focus. What are you choosing to dwell on? The Bible encourages us in 2 Corinthians 10:5 to take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. When negativity arises, challenge it. Don't let it linger or take root. Instead, replace it with truth, gratitude, and positivity. Here's a question for you. What would happen if you started every day with gratitude and affirmation instead of letting negativity dictate your mood? Imagine waking up and declaring, "Today is a gift. I am protected, I am chosen, and I am walking in God's purpose." How different would your day feel if you filled those early moments with light and intention? Chosen one, you are stronger than you realize. Your resilience and faith not only shield you, but guide you toward a more fulfilling path. The negativity you encounter, whether it's from people, circumstances, or even your own thoughts, has no power over you unless you allow it. Do you believe that you're equipped to overcome these challenges? Remember, not everyone is meant to walk with you on this journey. There will be people who can't appreciate your light, who try to drag you down to their level. But here's the truth. Their negativity is not a reflection of you, it's a reflection of their own struggles. Your job isn't to fix them or carry their burdens. Your job is to protect your peace and keep moving forward. So here's your challenge. When negativity shows up, cut it off at the source. Don't let it linger, don't dwell on it, and don't give it room to grow. Instead, replace it with thoughts and actions that uplift your spirit. Start your day with prayer, gratitude, and declarations of God's promises over your life. When you align your energy with positivity, you naturally distance yourself from toxic influences. Let me ask you one more thing. What would happen if you refused to let negativity dictate your mood or your mindset? How much more peace, joy, and clarity would you experience? When you choose to rise above, you're not just protecting yourself, you're stepping into the purpose God has designed for you. Chosen one, Does your heart still feel heavy from the weight of yesterday? Maybe there was a fallout, a sharp word, or a moment that left you questioning your worth. You went to bed with that pain, and now you're waking up with it still clinging to you like a shadow. But let me remind you, you're not meant to carry that burden into a new day. Have you ever considered how much power there is in letting go? It's not about ignoring what happened or pretending it didn't hurt. It's about releasing its grip on your spirit so you can move forward. Do you trust that God sees what you're going through, even when others misunderstand or mistreat you? When people try to put you down, tell you that you're not good enough, or doubt your abilities, they're not seeing the real you. They're blind to the greatness God has placed within you. The Bible reminds us in 1 Samuel 16:7, "The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Others may judge you based on their limited perspective, but God knows your true value. And here's the good news. There's a higher power looking out for you. Those negative intentions and schemes won't succeed because God's hand is over your life. For those of you who've recently experienced a spiritual awakening, you may have noticed that the hostility around you seems to have increased, especially in the workplace. Have you felt like you're being targeted? Maybe people are scheming against you, spreading lies, or trying to bring you down with deception. It can feel overwhelming, can't it? But here's the truth. Their actions cannot derail what God has planned for you. What if their negativity results in something you didn't expect, like losing a job? It's easy to see that as a defeat. But what if it's not? What if it's actually a blessing in disguise? Sometimes God allows doors to close so He can lead us to something greater, something more aligned with our purpose. Remember, Joseph was thrown into a pit and sold into slavery before he rose to become second in command in Egypt. What others meant for harm, God used for good. Genesis 50:20. Chosen one, don't stoop to their level. When people try to drag you down, it's because they can't reach the heights you're destined for. Their actions are a reflection of their own insecurities, not of your worth. Do you realize how much stronger and more resilient you become when you refuse to engage in negativity? When you stay focused on your path and keep your spirits high, you're showing the world and yourself that your light is unshakable. The Bible says in Romans 12:21, "Do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good." This doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you rise above their actions. You trust that God will handle the justice, freeing you to focus on your calling. Justice will find its way back around, and you don't have to lift a finger. Chosen one, here's the truth you need to hold on to. Everything happening to you right now is steering you toward your ultimate calling. The challenges, the setbacks, and even the betrayals are all part of a grander plan. Do you trust that God's timing is perfect, even when it feels like everything is falling apart? When the going gets tough, let this be your mantra. Let go, trust the process, and keep moving forward. Don't allow bitterness, anger, or frustration to take root in your spirit. Every time you release the negativity, you're making space for the blessings that are waiting to flow into your life. The Bible reminds us in Jeremiah 29:11, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." So, chosen one, what's your next step? Will you let go of yesterday's pain and embrace today's promise? Will you trust that every obstacle is part of your preparation for something greater? Keep your head high, your heart open, and your focus on the path ahead. And when the negativity around you feels too heavy, remember this: you're not walking this journey alone. God is right beside you, guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you for a destiny far beyond what you can imagine. The people who've tried to dim your light can't follow you where you're headed. You're moving toward fulfillment, purpose, and a life that's aligned with your highest good. Chosen one, when life hands you setbacks, remember, it's not the end of your story. It's the setup for an even greater comeback. Imagine this: the job you were let go from due to misunderstandings or deceit suddenly calls you back, offering more than before. Tempting, isn't it? If they didn't stand by you when you needed them, if they didn't take the time to hear your side, why return? Sometimes God removes things from our lives not as a punishment, but as a redirection, a divine detour leading us to something far greater than we could have imagined. Do you trust the path He's laying before you? Every challenge, every setback, every closed door is part of a larger divine plan. What if the obstacle you're facing isn't a barrier, but a stepping stone? Trust that God is using these moments to guide you exactly where you need to be. He's aligning everything in your favor, shaping you into the person He's called you to become. Can you feel it? The greatness stirring within you, the sense that you're on the brink of something extraordinary. When the going gets tough, remind yourself of this: it's all aligning for your good. The challenges aren't here to break you, they're here to elevate you. Live from your heart, let love guide your actions, and watch how your life begins to transform. And when negativity arises, don't engage. Hold your ground, but don't lower yourself to the level of those who seek to bring you down. Instead, rise above. Elevate your vibrations so high that negativity can't even reach you. Remember, it's not about avoiding challenges. It's about how you navigate through them. When you keep your mindset focused on love, light, and purpose, those who try to pull you down simply cannot touch you. Your energy is protected, your spirit is resilient, and your path is blessed. If this message has touched your heart and you feel led to support this ministry, consider donating through Super Thanks. Your support helps us share God's word with others and build a community of faith that grows stronger together. But whether you give or not, know this: you are a cherished part of this journey, and I am praying for you. As we continue on this journey together, I want to leave you with this blessing. May your days be filled with peace, love, and clarity. May you find the strength to rise above every challenge and the courage to trust the process. And may every step you take lead you closer to your divine purpose, surrounded by blessings and abundance. Stay blessed, stay bright, and keep shining, chosen one. Until next time.